Hey everybody, welcome back to the Teknopathetic podcast. I'm your host, Angelo, and we're back here again with Dan.
Yes, that's me. I'm Dan.
I know they know by now, I hope.
Well,
Otherwise-
I want them to know. I want a connection with these people, Angelo.
I mean, I think you already probably do. I mean, there's one guy in the comments who just keeps calling you handsome and shit. Like,
I love that guy. He's like so cool. Like, I would go on a date with that guy. He's just so cool. He probably is just so beautiful, you know?
oh my god, how do you know it's a guy? What if it's a girl?
That's a good question.
Our first topic here. What's the hypest game ever?
The Lego Ninjago movie video game. I mean, if you want to talk about general hype, just like not related to the company, Pokemon would come to my mind.
I mean, yeah, fair. I don't know, like, Pokemon's hype and advertising, but I don't think anyone just gives, like, yeah! When, like, they're having their Pikachu evolve. Like, no one does that.
Oh, you're talking about like when you're actually playing the game.
Yes, okay, so you know what's actually a pretty hype game I've been playing recently?
What?
EDF!
I've never heard of this.
Alright, Earth Defense Force 4.1.
Oh.
And, you know what it's about?
Isn't it the bug game?
It's the bug game, but you fight more than just giant bugs. You fight giant robots, giant spaceships, just... In general, it's a game about going up against impossible odds.
Also, Nier Automata, has some pretty hype moments in it. Like,
yeah.
Those bits where you're fighting the huge robots in the ocean.
Yeah. One day I'll play that game. One day.
It's a pretty good game. I need to finish it. Speaking of games where you can make your own hype, I'm just gonna have to put on the table Minecraft. I mean, I'm right though. Like, that game, really the only way you can hype it up is by making the game, like, interesting for yourself.
Minecraft girlfriend mod, I get you. That's pretty...
Guys, I need to slay the Ender Dragon or my Minecraft girlfriend won't come home.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah, single player Minecraft hype. I finally got a villager with mending. Oh my god, it's been like an hour. Actually, you know what? That is a pretty hype moment.
Oh my god. Alright, Dan, you ready for the next topic?
I'm ready.
Alright, so very controversial topic here. You and I have argued about this for a long time. Can a Japanese Chad exist?
No.
I think they can. Hold on, Dan. I'm gonna pull up the clip again. You know which one I'm about to pull up.
諦めんなよ。諦めんなお前。どうしてそこでやめるんだそこで。もう少し頑張ってみろよ。ダメダメダメやめ諦めたら。周りのこと思うよ。応援してる人たちのこと思ってみろって。あともうちょっとのところなんだから。俺だってこのマイナス10度のところ、しじみが取れるって頑張ってんだよ。絶対やってみろ。必ず目標達成できる。だからこそ、Never give up.
Alright, so, see, that's an outlier.
I know it's an outlier, but I don't care, like...
And that Japanese person definitely had some American influence, because Americans are the only Chads.
Are you ready for the next topic?
My body feels ready. It's stiffening.
Bro, do you remember creepypastas?
Of course I remember creepypastas. I was watching creepypastas like a few nights ago.
No shit, really?
Yeah, like I'll just get into these funks where I just like start watching some creepypastas, like retellings in the spooky YouTube voice.
There's a lot of those guys, and they're kind of like, not to say those guys died out or anything, they still do have their fans, but they aren't like nearly as popular as they used to be because the creepypasta fandom's like just not as big, is it?
It's not the amazing large fandom it used to be. That's not even a joke though. That used to be huge.
Yeah, it was a really fucking huge ass thing.
What's your favorite creepypasta?
That's pretty hard. I mean, I don't know. I'm the kind of guy that just will like go with whatever creepypasta's on my mind. I do like Sandman a lot because it's a pretty like, I don't know, like I've always been more interested in the creepypastas that have an element of sadness. I'm usually like more interested in horror that have just a little bit of like tragedy in them, because I feel like that's the most real case of horror for a lot of people in real life, you know?
I feel like that details an aspect of creepypastas. It with their writing, it's just like more emotional than normal horror movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of modern horror movies, and you know, I watch all the horror movies. I'm not a little baby scaredy pants. But a lot of horror movies that I've seen are more action movies.
No, yeah, that's
But
true.
With creepypastas, they're more like emotional drama with horror aspects. I also think there's psychological horror that feels too pretentious is in that category too. Because I like psychological horror. That's probably the best kind of horror in my opinion. But when it gets like too pretentious, you know what I mean?
And like
It's weird to explain.
Maybe what you're trying to say is psychological horror that's trying to like be like, man, society made the monster.
Yeah!
Yeah, no, I get you.
It's not just like cool, like, hey, this guy's a serial killer. Let's dive into the actual what happened with him.
You know what? Okay, I know. We made fun of it before. But you know what was actually the scariest thing in JoJo?
What?
Just the idea that Yoshikage Kira was never gonna get found ever, and that his ability made it like nearly impossible to like trace it back to him.
I, Yoshikage Kira, am a gamer. I disrespect women. Yeah, that is... If it wasn't JoJo and it didn't have the JoJo that would be a pretty good story.
Alright, you ready for the next topic?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I know you love this series so much, Stan, but can we just talk about Danganronpa for a bit?
Alright, what do you want to talk about from my... I can't really say my favorite sarcastically, because I like it. I just don't really like it.
Alright, you know what? Let's just talk about the good of Danganronpa first, and about what we like first, maybe. What do you like about Danganronpa, Dan?
I like the aspect of killing people, of solving the murders, and the, oh, this character I really fucking liked is killed by worst girl. Bad. No. You know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this.
I know what you're talking about. My favorite thing is actually always going to be the characters in Danganronpa, like, because it is one of those special cases in, like, all three casts of the games where every single character is someone's favorite, and I think that's really special, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when it's such a huge cast.
I do like how they play with the tropes of the characters, like, the characters are very cliched, but they play with that, and I like that.
Yeah. Like, one of my favorite, like, bits of, I guess, like, cliche playing is, Kazuichi, right? Who has a pretty outlandish design in some ways, but they actually do give an explanation that he was legitimately just a nerd who got a makeover, and it's why he looks so whack.
And stupid fucking gamer girl, I hate her, bad, no, get out of my sight, thought.
I was actually just in like a server recently. People were talking about Chiaki, right? They were like, "Yo, I want to role play as Chiaki just so while I have sex, I can say poggers."
Yo, guys, this is pretty poggers.
I think each game has its strengths and weaknesses in terms of plot and characters, where, okay, so let me put it to you like this. The first game's, like, strength was, for one, Well, all the characters were very unique and eccentric weirdos, and that was even emphasized in their designs. And all the motives were very clearly displayed, right?
Yeah.
All the characters were kind of holding their cards pretty close to their chests, usually for the most part, and it made a very big case of trust no one situation, even if you did want to trust them, and even if you did act friendly with them, there was still always an air of suspicion. Like, all the characters were just weird enough that you were like, yeah, they could do it.
But I can see that. I can see how, like, most of the characters you could totally buy would just kill.
Yeah, because they're all really weird people, and because they're all, like, kind of keeping motives sort of close to their chest, it's hard to tell who is on whose side, and it's great, I think, in that sense. Like, Danganronpa 1 has the greatest sense of mystery out of all of them, and Danganronpa 1's ending of that, like, you know, just the big blowing off the lid of everything you thought you were working for is also great. Because it's the biggest surprise in the series, mostly because it's at the very beginning, right? And
Yeah.
this is kind of what I'm gonna try and say here. Past Danganronpa 1, all the other big upsets just don't really compare because it's hard to beat, hey, the world ended.
Yeah.
Like,
That's definitely fair. The first game, my favorite part of it is the location. I really like the idea of the weird school.
yes, you know what? That is actually a great part about that game too, yeah.
The worst part for me is like half of the characters are bad.
Nah, you don't like half the characters.
I don't know if it's exactly half, but a good portion of them I just don't like.
Okay, that was the thing that was coming to my mind. So, the problem with Danganronpa 1's cast is it's a big case where because they had to put such heavy suspicion on everyone, and there was just going to be certain characters that were going to, you know, make it so that you kind of rubbed shoulders with them a bit, causes a case in which you just dislike characters early on.
You know what? Thinking back on it, a lot of the characters I don't like are the victims. And I feel like that was, like, they know that they're gonna die, so they're just like, eh.
I don't think that's the case, really. I think that's more just a case of, like, disliking characters because of their personality. But here's the thing. I'm more cool with, like, having a large cast of characters where it's, like, you're, like, split down the middle. Like, there's a lot of these characters I like, and there's a lot of the characters I dislike, right? I prefer that over a big cast of characters that you're just kind of all about, you know? Because that's a lot more interesting. At the very least, that means that there is going to be interest in your mind as to when there are deaths and murders and all that.
Yeah, but then there's those portions of the game where you have to spend time with the characters you don't like. And it's just like, I don't want to be here, man. Let me just go talk to the cool characters. Okay, moving on to the second game.
I think I've actually... Alright, you know what? I'm gonna just say this. I really love the atmosphere in the second game. Just the beach vibe and, like, all the, like... It's just genuinely... With the second game, I genuinely feel like, okay, this is a location that was meant to be a happy and great place to be in before it got taken over by a killing game.
I really like the funhouse. Just like, I guess it kind of does go into, it's so different from what you were used to. Like, it's colorful, it's bright, it's unsettling.
Yeah, it's like...
That was a really cool part of the game.
I should just emphasize this. I love almost every single character in Danganronpa, like, even the ones that, like, probably are a little bit on the two-dimensional side.
Yeah.
But what I always do like to think is just, I need to emphasize this. The biggest problem with Danganronpa 2's characters is that they're all a little too happy-go-lucky. They all do get scared, like, about the killing game, but it's just, there's much less of a vibe of that, hey, some of these people you probably shouldn't trust. Like, you don't get that feeling, you know? Who do you think... Alright, I also want you to really think about this. Who's the weakest cast member from Danganronpa 1?
Well, the Toko, but you've told me she gets better in the...
Yeah. I still think, even if you consider, like, Toko the weakest cast member, like, the least interesting, also just genuinely annoying, she still is there, she still does stuff, and she still has some interest. Who's the weakest cast member in Danganronpa 2, though? Like, in terms of just, like, characters that is just nothing, right?
Akane. I don't like her.
Exactly! That's just my kind of thing here. The weakest cast member in Danganronpa 2 really is a nothing character. Like, the only thing okay, in the trials, the only thing Akane really has going for her is in chapter 4, where she, gets really depressed that she loses fucking Nekamaru. And the only other thing she really, like, helps with in trials is when she's going with her gut on things. And by the way, her gut is always right. That's enough about Danganronpa. We're reaching the 1 hour. We're at 55 minutes in here. So, Dan.
All right, final topic here.
Dan, can we just talk about
Yes.
trolling Discord servers for a bit?
It's my favorite hobby, my favorite pastime. I'm internationally ranked at it. That's a lie.
I guess I may as well. I'll come out and say it because we'd eventually get revealed for it anyway. So me and Dan like to go and troll Discord servers, and that's harmless trolling. Not like we actually hurt anyone or try to dox people or. Okay, well we do make fun of weebs though, so I guess that's pretty personal attack,
Yeah. We just kind of make fun of the cringe people. And we also fuck with people really, really weird ways, like you pretending to be a special needs fellow. And me trying to get some coochie off of that.
I think this is time for a story time, Dan. Let me tell you guys, once upon a time, me and Dan went onto a Discord server. We had decided, okay, we are each gonna play our own roles here, right? I decided I would play the role of I was somebody who, I was a bit of a special fellow, someone who has the guy who has 1 intelligence in Fallout New Vegas, all right? And and we were going on to dating servers. Dan was gonna be an incel, and okay, I need to emphasize this, but the best part was working with Dan on what his incel account should be named and the profile picture should be. And as I described it to him, he just said, "Oh, fuck you. I feel like such an incel." So I'm gonna the name was Echo Cancels, and if Dan would send me a DM of the profile picture, I'll put up on screen what the profile picture was. Yeah. Yeah.
He's such a fucking incel guy.
Dan was just appalled at how well I had represented how an incel would look on Discord. But those were the roles we played. I was a special needs person. Dan was an incel. A very good incel, too. So, what would happen was this. We would go on to dating servers, and then I would find a girl with open DMs. And then I would go into her DMs and be all like, "Hi, you pretty!"
Okay, so once he did that, I let him go around with that a little bit, and then I just DM'd the girl, "Hey, is Angelo messaging you?" And they responded "Yeah, he totally is. How do you know that?" "Well, I'm his brother, and he's politically correct word." Yes, I was being a total Chad. But that's pretty much what we did. I would just be really, really mean to him behind his back. One of my favorite trolls that we did was we pretended I took away his spacebar. So he couldn't type with spaces. It was just really funny.
So you're all probably wondering, okay, so how did the girls react? Well, I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to say about 85 to maybe 90% of the girls were actually they were very sweet. They were just "Oh, you're very nice, very nice to the mentally challenged Chad Angelo."
And they were just ripping me a new ass, calling me a trash person, telling me, not in these exact terms, but I should go kill myself because I'm garbage.
All right, now I think we need to end this podcast though with the story about your H girl, the H master, Hannah.
The queen of Discord, best girl on Discord.
We found another dating server. We found an especially pretty girl, and I began DMing her. Usual stuff so far. Here's what happened. Dan DM'd her, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to pull a little bit of a prank on him?" And she was like, here's the thing. Incel Dan was all like, "Hey, so I think he told me he has a crush on you, that you're his girlfriend." And her reaction was more or less, "Oh my god, that's so funny, ew."
She was just the greatest person I've ever met online. She's So I tell her, hey, do you want to like pull a prank on him, get him to believe you're his girlfriend, then just put him down? And she's like, yeah, totally, that would be hilarious. So we continue on, and we're just kind of like, I'm DMing her, complaining, yeah, he's such like, just really pushing it further than I would push it with normal people.
Yeah, and she just wasn't even like phased. She just was kind of almost agreeing a lot.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure I said something like, yeah, those people should be euthanized. And she just said, like, yeah, I kind of agree. Okay, here's a great quote from my chat with her. Okay, so here we go. Dan J the Incel. So, to feed my curiosity, would you ever date a mentally challenged guy? And then Hannah. Well, I don't know him. It's like, is he like, mentally challenged as in the handicap? Yes. Not to be like racist, but I wouldn't. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here. Being mentally challenged is a race.
So, ableist is the correct term. She's just too fucking we know that. I know that she's a dumb bitch, but I am like appalled at how fucking stupid and moronic she could really be, and I do think that someone like her is only someone who could in any way get by on looks alone, and is eventually going to get tossed to the side like the trash she is if the moment her looks even drop remotely. Because she really is an awful fucking bitch and doesn't deserve anything she gets in life. Because if you're going to treat an autistic person and mess around with them like that, you really don't deserve any respect. Anyways.
Oh.
I think that is a great note to end on. Fuck that bitch. So, thank you all so much for tuning into the Incel Podcast.
Where we're incels and we teach you how to be better incels.
Anyways, and Dan, any other final words you have before we end off here?
Mechanical pencil.
Okay, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you. Have a good night.